Hi guys, welcome back to yet another YumCars video, and as you can see behind me we've got a Nissan GTR into our workshop for some treatments. Now I really wanted to film this one, as mentioned in my previous video. This car is going to be a good subject for a video because the customer is a good friend of ours, and for as long as we've known him anyway, we know the history of this car. And the history of this car is, it goes from his garage to the track and back. Literally, that is it. Maybe the occasional wash, if the car's lucky. So, as you can imagine, all the track-related contamination is on the car, and if it sits on the car for a while, especially in the summer, where the heat's baking it on, it starts to really degrade the car. So he's brought it to us and he said, do your best. I couldn't see the car under the lights like I have now, so I didn't really know the history of the car. Obviously, I knew there was a couple of things on the bonnet and a few issues, obviously track related, a few stone chips in the paint starting to really go from the most susceptible areas, so like the lower arches, etc. So he said, do your best and see what you can do. So we said, okay, not a problem, so it's a challenge. So the car itself, Nissan GTR, 750 brake, which is amazing. I've personally, well, myself and Kelly have personally been in the car as well, on the track at Donington, and yeah, it's the real deal. Kelly almost died, I loved it, so yeah. Typical. The car is being washed. Again, this is day 2 of the detail. Again, like with the previous car, we couldn't capture it, okay? Well, day 2/3, because it took us 2 days to wash this. We had to wheel it in and take it back out. So the rain's been bad, the wind's been bad, and the camera would have got wet, probably blown over, so the quality of the videos wouldn't have been that good on the outside prep. But basically what we did with this car is we must have pre-washed this with various chemicals about 100 times before we even touched the car. But so citrus, our Yum foam, multiple times each, doing a contactless wash. We washed it deeply. We did the full chemical decontamination, so your tar and your clay, your tar and your iron, I'm sorry. Especially tar and brake dust, both of those things picked up on the track, and just general road use. We then brought it in here, we conducted a full mechanical decontamination, so anything to do with clay, so synthetic clay, mitts, pads, whatever, and your normal clay as well for some tighter areas, so around door handles and more intricate areas. So we had the car on the ramp first. There's another set of tires and wheels in the corner, which actually the car came in on, so they're semi-slicks. I think they're Toyo semi-slicks. They've got no tread in them left because of the track season. So we've exchanged them tires. Well, we've exchanged the wheels with the tires. But before we did this, again, the wheels that are on here, we had them outside. We did a full clean. We pre-coated them because we knew this process that I've just explained was going to take about 2 days. So we pre-coated them, let the coating bake on, had it on the ramp. We've exchanged the wheels. Now those wheels are over there somewhere, just behind the car. And the customer's going to come in. He's going to obviously change the tires, and I think he's potentially refurbing the wheels because the wheels are really heavily etched with rubber and embedded brake dust, which kind of is gone a bit too far, as the satin wheels as well, so you can't hit them too aggressively. So now the car's been wheeled into the middle of the bay, off the ramp, because we really don't need it in the air now, and this allows us a bit more working area here, so we can really move around the car and have a lot of equipment around us. So I'm going to take you through now what a full correction on a car like this looks like. I'm going to walk you through some of the really worrying things on the car, that I think is going to be difficult to remove. I've done a few test panels already. Again, it's going to be a full-on correction. Even though it's a GTR, Nissan usually soft to medium paint, but the more mild combinations are not working. So it's a full-on microfiber and a heavy cutting compound multiple times before we even begin to think of refining the car. So I'm going to quickly walk you around. Well, first of all, there's the tires. In fact, I'm going to walk you around. So I will show you. I've already got some stuff out. Yeah, there is nothing. So no tread on these. And I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but here and all around the wheels, again, there's the damage that we're talking about, but the brake dust and stuff like that is actually etched on. So you've seen the wheels. Now I'm going to show you the car. Now, let's have a look. By the way, it's already looking mega shiny, but first point of damage is here. So if you can see into the right hand corner of the light, there is one. And again, here, there's the mark. I'll just let it focus again. And there is a big one here as well. Just there. Now, the reason why that's worrying us is because we don't know how long it's been sat on the bonnet for. So usually people think, oh, that'll just polish out. Now, in some cases, the enzymes within the bird droppings will actually eat itself under the lacquer or in between. Sometimes it depends how deep it goes. And it also depends what the birds are eating at that given time. So it could be acidic, it could be alkaline, it could be, well, this is where you can potentially get a chip in the paint. If we've got seeds in the droppings. So I've done a test panel already on those heavy cutting compound, Maguire's microfiber cutting pads, and absolutely nothing has happened. So I think the only way, potentially, if this is going to work, we're going to try and wet sand the car, or the bonnet anyway, or specific areas, it depends. So we're going to start again with the least aggressive, so probably 5,000 or 3,000, probably about 3,000 grit sandpaper. We'll bring it back up, see what happens. If not, we're going to keep moving down into the grits of 1,500, maybe even 1,000. Now, the other problem is here that the bonnet and the boot have got no paint. So the paint readings, I'm reading 70 microns. So what that deducts, you're probably looking at 3 mil, okay? So 24 and a half, so call it 25 microns is 1 mil. It's got 70, so it's under 3 mil. Now you divide that by 3 again, so a third of everything. So your substrate, so that and the primer, you've got your paint, that's the secondary third of the reading, and then the final third is the lacquer. So, and this is what we're polishing, okay, is the lacquer. So imagine if it's 3 mil, you've now thirded it by 3 to get 1 mil. So you've got 1 mil of clear to work with, where with damage like this, again, 1 mil, I've worked on worse before, but the car was almost perfect. Whereas this, where it requires potentially 1,000 grit sandpaper and then a heavy compound again to bring it back up, it could be undoable. So we're gonna try it anyway, as we always do, and hopefully surprise the owner, as he's also a good friend of ours. So we want to give him the track car ready for next year in perfect condition. Again, everything's going to get coated just to protect it. But just don't forget, guys, this car gets used. I mean, literally, sometimes it goes to a track 4 times a month. So, you know, once a weekend, maybe twice a month. So this car gets absolutely abused on the track. So some damage will just never come out, and he realizes this. So like the front bumper, realistically, could probably use with a respray. but cars like this still deserve, you know, the love, because again, it's a GTR at the end of the day, 750 brake. It's a nice paint code, it's got a nice metallic flake to it, and we will make it as close to perfection as we can, so come on. So, CarPro clear cut, and the Maguire's microfiber pad, again it's been pre-primed, so your normal 4 dots. The big guns are coming out. Again, the usual high traffic areas. So this door handle is in a bad way. But what I've noticed is the first pass is actually getting probably 95%. Okay, maybe 90%. And then this is where the multiple stage correction comes in, because I'm just checking the mic. It's because some of the deeper scratches are not coming, so 2-3 hits and it's coming up perfect, ready for refinement. Would help if I had the power on. But as you can see, even from the angle that you're viewing it at now, just the basic washing and decontamination has started to actually absorb the light properly. So it's looking very glossy as is, but nothing like it will look in a couple of days. So it's interesting as well. It's an awesome test subject because we will have a look in time, because we do speak to the owner quite often. Be very interesting to see how certain products will hold up on this over time with prolonged track use, and obviously track maybe daily as well. Some of their nicer cars are not driven in weather like this, so again, rain, salt, etc. It'll be very, very interesting. So as I said, in this case, 80%'s come, but there seems to be very deep, almost like key marks, but very uniformal. So I don't know if that's caused from gloves or something. Interesting. So like the racing gloves, etc. I think more than likely I'm going to have to touch up with the hybrid on the microfiber pad, because I could see that I'm not even getting close to the edges, but one more hit. Hopefully, the amount of passes I've just done, but the interesting thing is, when you look at the panels that I haven't touched, yes, they're shiny, but as soon as you start polishing, the gloss level, you could just see through the polish that it's just improving every time you do a pass, which is really interesting. What I like to do is just get onto the yellow light. There we go. Nice. High traffic areas don't look too bad either. Slight touch up, like literally on the edge. But apart from that, it's come out absolutely beautifully. Yeah, there's a huge difference too. It looks like a lot of hand car wash, you know, the cheap hand car washes as well. Very tight, circular style damage. It's coming out well. This will be the last car we do prior to 2020. We have in between now, which is I think the 12th of December. Between now and New Year, we have this car, and we actually have a lot of smaller jobs in. So I think we've got probably a conjunction of about 15 cars in between that, but we're going to try and squeeze them all in prior to the New Year. We're not really taking any days off, apart from probably Christmas. Because I can't imagine anybody wanting to come here on Christmas Day. But yeah, we've got a lot of smaller jobs, so maintenance details, protection details, which normally take us in around about half a day to a day respectively. So yeah, interesting time of year for us, very busy. But it's nice to finish off a big detail a couple of weeks prior to everyone breaks up. And yeah, nice Christmas present for these guys. So the common misconception with Japanese paint is it's usually on the softer side. Let me tell you something, on this one, that is not the case. Yes, the swirls are coming out easy, but the deeper inflicted damage is definitely not coming out as easy as I like to think. But yeah, it's a very time-consuming process, and you have to re-hit certain panels multiple times. But still, what I am seeing though is, I know you can't see this from your angle, but let's say this panel here hasn't been touched. So, as I mentioned earlier, you can actually start seeing the gloss pop through the polish, which is interesting. So the more passes you're doing, you can actually see the flake, because it's actually a really nice paint code. Start seeing the flake popping through polish, which is nice. There's a little tick mark here, a little handle. There's the infamous Kelly. Loved by all, seen by none. You might just catch a glimpse of her just walking. Done. Just for reference, the paint reading. So again, look, we're on 0 at the minute. So this panel, you're reading 191. Literally just move across the ledge. You're reading 110, 103. So there's a big fluctuation, 109, and then you move just over this panel gap and you're reading 80. So just for the sake of transparency, 80 microns. Now, I'm going to show you in a second some of the bird damage on here, but directly on the bird damage, you're reading 73. So this car may have had a respray in its past. So again, 97 you've jumped to there. Onto the next panel, 194, 190, roof, 177. Now there's big jumps, 118. Now on Kelly's side, on this door, you're reading very, very low, I think in the 60s. How much are you reading on your door? The micro, hey? 91. 87. So very low pain readings, between 79 and 84. It's unfortunate because the nature of most of the scratches on here is basically you'll probably hit the pen first before you get to the scratch. However, there's nothing we can really do about that. You play with the cards you're dealt. Like I said, the reason why I've gone for the 3-inch over the 5-inch is because on stuff like this, I can actually ride the edge a lot more comfortably, and we'll be able to, with the 5-inch backing plate. I mean, there's a tremendous improvement on gloss. So, moving on to the bonnet now of the GTR. As I've showed you before, this is probably the worst area along with the front bumper. Now, the front bumper's got a lot of stone chips, which is obviously impossible to remove apart from if you go to a body shop. Now, onto the bonnet. The bonnet has got seriously etched paint where the main source of damage, apart from the swirls and scratches, is the bird poo. Now, the bird poo's been left on there clearly for many months. It's definitely not coming out with a microfiber pad and a heavy compound, so the big guns are coming out. So we've got some paper and we've got some sanding blocks. Now, the sanding blocks are from a company called KXK Dynamics over in America, so Jason Kilman, Andy Ward. There's a few different variants. Now, this specific one, I don't know if you could see, but I can squeeze it quite firmly, so it's soft foam. You've got another one in the set that is pretty much super hard acrylic plastic. Now, on this paint, I'm going to be using the soft ones. That just allows me a little bit more safety in terms of, you know, if I do put a little bit of pressure down, the foam should absorb it. Now, onto the sandpaper. This specific grade of paper is 5000 grit, so it's very light, it's very fine. This should do the trick, okay? So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna do a little test spot over here. So a light polish, a light wet sand. So it's not going to be a wet sand, it's going to be more of a damp sand. So you don't want, in this case, I don't want too much lubrication on the panel where the paper's literally just sliding over the water nice and easily. So the surface is going to be mildly damp and I'm going to let the paper do most of the work. And then we're going to bring it back up through our trusty method of microfiber pads and heavy cutting compounds. So, as I said, it's going to be mildly moist. So we're going to just spray a little bit, just your normal, this is deionized water. We're going to lightly mist the panel and do some light passes and see what happens. Now the damage itself is here. So just to show you what we're working with, again, a micrometer to make sure we're within safety limits. 77. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to measure around, so 78. 78. Now, just for the viewer, I'll change it to mils, so it's easier to understand how much we're working with. Now, that's reading 3.1 total depth of the paint. So it reads all three layers, so primer, paint and clear, 3.1, 2.6, 2.8. Okay, so not a lot, but hopefully workable. So again, we've wrapped the paper around the block. One spray. As I said, not technically super wet. I want to let the paper do all the work. Now, I'm putting no pressure on. Now, I normally sand via a machine. However, in this case, because we're doing a few spot corrections, I will be using the sanding blocks. That way there's a lot more control. So again, one of our utility towels, just wipe off. Evaporate any of the water. Now I could still see the mark. So it looks like might have to go a little bit deeper. Now again, it's a pre-primed microfiber pad. Maguire's, again, Corporal clear cut. Now luckily there isn't that many. I think there's only 4 or 5 on the bonnet which need addressing. Again, I'll put a little bit more than usual on. I'm just gonna remove the sanding marks, see where we are. Checking the heat, as always. Moment of truth. Yeah, it's still there. So, again, the same thing with the polishing. As with the polishing, same thing with the sandpaper. start at the least aggressive and see what happens. It hasn't worked. So what we'll be doing is, so I've got some 3000 grit, so I've moved up one, 3000 grit, and then I'm going to follow it up with the 5000 again. So we were reading 3.1, we're reading 3. So for the whole step, I've took off 0.1 of a mil, acceptable. So 3000 coming up. Where are you? There we go. I've totally missed it. So again, I'm doing about 20 to 25 passes, so up and down is a pass. Now this is a little bit more aggressive paper, so hopefully this combined with a 5000 should bring it back lovely. Now I can't see anything. Now this does not necessarily, I don't know if you could see that or not. There we go. There's the wet sanding mark, so it goes to a very dull color because you're technically flattening the clear or the clear coat. Now back to 5000 again, a little bit more water as lubrication. And as you could see, I'm not forcing the block in any way. I'm putting no pressure on, that's the main thing. However, I'm not forcing it, which means my sanding area is consistent, which is the most important thing. You don't want to potentially inflict any more damage than what's already on the car, because you might have to hit it a little bit more aggressive. Just evaporating the moisture. Moment of truth, number 2. And that's how you go and get it done. 1 times bird poo removed. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get out my 3-inch Mini. Hit the whole bonnet. The reason I'm using the 3-inch rather than the 5-inch back end plate is because there's actually quite a lot of grooves a lot of bulges, which you probably can't see, but below each fender there's a bulge. It is quite intricate, and I want to focus on specific areas. So I'm going to knock out the whole bonnet, and whenever I come up to the handful of other bird droppings, I'm going to implement what you've just seen. So 3000, followed by the 5000 grit, moist sanding, not wet sanding, and a compound, and it's come out perfect. So we're on the final day of the detail now, and as you could tell with these, it's coating time. So the coatings of choice that we're going to use on the GTR, well, before we explain, it's looking fairly nice. So we had to refine off camera, well, we had to correct the rest of the car and refine off camera because we had a lot of contractors in here just looking around at a few bits and pieces around the unit. So there was a lot of, well, not noise, but a lot of distraction on the screen. So we decided to keep it off camera, but the car has been corrected, the car has been refined. Again, it's a track car, so perfection is not 100%, but we're looking at a very good rate here. So the paint is looking as best as it probably ever will on this car, and now time to seal it. So we've just wiped it down. The choice of coatings that we're going to be using is the base layer, Geon Mose. So we're going to double up on this coat, and then we're going to double up on the super glossy and hydrophobic layer of Geon skin again, keeping it with Geon this time round. So it's going to leave it protected, slick, super glossy. So when the customer comes to pick it up and he goes to wash it, it's going to be unbelievable for him. So it's not going to get as dirty. It's going to stay cleaner for longer. So amazing. So again, applicator blocks. This one's from CarPro. Again, the suede or the micro suede. And we're just going to crack on. So the customer is picking it up late tomorrow afternoon, if nothing changes. So this will give, again, you don't really have to do this, but I do it anyway, just to make sure, out of habit, give it a good shake. So the customer's coming tomorrow afternoon. It'll give the coating plenty of time to gas. Initial application is a bit heavy of the coating, just to make sure everything's saturated. And just your usual 2-towel application method. It is cool outside, which is nice because we can spread the coating further out. I am still convinced the Mose and the skin combination is the glossiest and slickest combo going. It is very nice to work with. So hoping the customer's going to love this. It's been with us for almost 2 weeks now. We've had to really tickle the paint in some areas, as in the paint readings aren't the best. I'm not going to show you how I cut the entire car because you've seen me do this plenty of times, but I also try to catch some interior work from Kelly, but too much noise going on, so I need to pre-plan that one next time. But the interior is complete as well. Just need to make sure, you know, just the last bits now, but this is the final bit. We dress the tires and we're away. But next year, which is not too far away, there's a lot of plans. Hopefully catch them all on film. I've made some really nice cars off film, but that's not my decision. to make, but I wish I could film them sometimes. But next year there's going to be a lot more content. That is hopefully as well not going to be all us machining and coating cars, a little bit different. So, exciting times. Whew, see that? Whee. Slick. So yeah, I'm going to probably time lapse this after I do the first few panels. This is a long process with the 2 layers. Next year again, the meets are restarting up here, the events that we hold. If you haven't been to one, speak to somebody who has, and they are massive, especially for the people who have been to our place. You'll realize that we take over the entire business park, which is always fun to do. But next year, they'll be starting back up again. So everybody's welcome, the invite's open. I can hear doors banging. I bet that's Kelly with my food. Haven't eaten all day again. It's currently 3:30. One of the very rare times you're going to see Kelly's hand on camera. Come on then, show her. She seems to be very proud of this. Stripes! What was that?
I said wait until we get home.
Wait until we get home. Oh God. Now moving on to the rear of the GTR, we are using our same procedure of a crosshatch pattern and 2-tower wipe-off method. Now this part of the car is even more important to make sure every single piece is coated, because this is a 4-wheel drive car which is tracked again. So usually the dirt will be coming out the exhaust and also being flicked up onto the rear of the car. So we have to really make sure that everything is super well covered, coated and protected. Hey guys, I'm super excited. The car's now finished, and as you can see behind me, it's looking sweet. So just a quick recap. We've done a deep thorough wash on it. Outside, we did a full decontamination of the paint, so tar removal, iron removal, full clay bar service inside. We had it on the ramp. We took off the track wheels, put on the winter wheels, which are the same wheel, but just different tires. We then carried out with a full multi-step correction. Some panels requiring maybe 4 or 5 hits with a compound and a microfiber pad. We then refined the paint. Inside got a full detail. The glass got sealed. The paint is sealed in the Geon Mose, Geon skin. Then the entire car and the wheels were boosted with our ceramic spray sealant, so the car's looking amazing. The customer's coming to pick it up tomorrow, so today is Wednesday, tomorrow obviously it's Thursday, tomorrow afternoon he's coming to pick it up, so I hope he likes it. Yes, it's a track car, he's gonna track it again, it's gonna get dirty, but it's protected, it's shiny, it's glossy, it's gonna be the shiniest track car in the country, hopefully. But guys, I hope you've enjoyed this, and I will catch you on the next one.